Hello and welcome to Steps to Maths, and today in coordinate geometry we're going to be looking at how we measure distance between 2 points. Now at the end of this I want to be able to figure out how long this line is. Okay, so as we know in coordinate geometry we have a plane, which is a flat space. We have it split into coordinates, an x direction and a y direction. So the first value in this couple is our left and right value, which we use x for, tells us how far left or right we've gone. The second value tells us how far up or down we've gone, which is our y value. So the first value tells you how far left or right, the second value tells you how far up or down. Now if you remember last week we were looking at finding the midpoint, but one of the things that we did during that process was we wanted to find out what the distance from one place to another is. So the distance between 3 and 5 was 2. We found that by subtraction. We said 5 take away 3 gives us 2, the distance from 3 to 5. 10 take away 3 gives us a distance of 7. 8 take away -4 gives us a distance of 12. So just remember, when we're finding distance, we're going to be subtracting the smaller number from the larger number. And just remember that if we're subtracting a negative number, that's the same as adding it. Okay? So let's look at our point here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to find this distance here. We're going to find the distance from left to right. So from our couple -2, -15 to the point 8, 2, I want to find out how far left or right I've gone. So we're moving from -2 left to +8 right. So that distance in the x direction, I will often use this symbol to say the distance that in the x direction is, you find it by taking one of the values, which is 8, and subtracting the other value, which is -2. So remember, we're subtracting a negative value is the same as adding. So we get 8 plus 2, and that distance is 10. So our distance in the left-right direction is 10. Okay, so that distance there is 10. Then we want to know what's the distance here. How far up do I go from one place to another? So imagine I picked this number first. So I'm going to be subtracting one of the y's from one of the other y's. But imagine I started with -15. So I said the distance in the y direction. That's just a little symbol I like to use to say distance. And I'm going to say it started at -15, and I'm going to subtract 2, which is my other value for y. So imagine I pick the smaller number first instead of the bigger number. Let's see what happens. Well, I get -17. But we always know that a distance is always positive. So I put these 2 lines here to say I'm going to make that positive. Okay? 2 lines here just means I'm going to make it positive no matter what it is. So it's 17. So the distance from here to here, up or down, is 17. Our distance left or right is 10. Our distance up and down is 17. So those are the 2 numbers that I want first. And later on you're going to use a rule called Pythagoras' rule, or Pythagoras' theorem, which says to find this length here, you multiply this number by itself to get 100. You multiply this number by itself to get whatever that is. Let's just write it down, 17 by 17. Which I should have known is 289. Then you add them together to get 389, and then you use a calculator to find the square root of 389. Okay, so the square root of 389, there's a function on your calculator that will find this for you, and that will be the distance from here to here. But for the moment, I just want what's the left or right distance or the up or down distance. So the distance in the x direction is your second x value minus your first x value. The distance in the y direction is your second y value minus your first y value. So what I'm writing here is I'm just saying x2 just means the first value of the couple, the second couple. So this is the second couple. I might be complicating this slightly. So I'm going to call this couple 2, and I'm going to call this couple 1. And I'm going to say the left-right value, the x value of couple 1. So this is the x value of couple 1. And this, see the little 1 beside it? That means it's the x value of couple 1. This little 2 beside it means it's the x value of couple 2. Okay? That'll just help you a little bit. I just want you to know what these little symbol means. X with a little 2 beside it means the x value of my second couple. X with a little 1 beside it means the x value of couple 1. You'll need to use this when you start using the formula in the table. So that'll help you. Okay, so again, y2 is the y value of couple 2. y1 is the y value of couple 1. Okay, so put that down. Just remember that. It just helps you to know which couple you're talking about at any one time. But anyway, what I want you to do, I want you to find the distance. You find the distance by subtracting the two numbers, because couple 2 is actually this, 2 take away negative 15. Because I said y2 minus y1, I want to be consistent. This is y2, this is x2, this is y1, this is x1. I'm going to say 2 take away negative 15 is the same as 2 plus 15, which is equal to 17. Later on, we're going to find out how to find the actual distance. For the moment, I want two numbers, the change in x and the change in y. Okay, so that's all you have to do. It's a messy looking page at the moment, but I hope you follow that okay. There's two things you're going to do. You'll label one of the couples, couple 2. You'll label one of the couples, couple 1. You use the little 2 symbol to say we're talking about the y value of couple 2. You use the little 1 symbol to say you're talking about the y value of couple 1. To find the distance, you subtract one value from the other. Later on, we'll be using formulae from the table and we'll find out the rest of it. Just for the moment, I just want you to figure out this distance and this distance. So there'll be an exercise for this. I might ask you the x distance, or I might ask you the y distance, or I might ask you both. Okay, so have a go at that. Best of luck.